thank you, and welcome. With me is Dana Wolf, our executive producer. Well, tonight our resolution is Eliot Spitzer should resign.
Nah.
Well, okay, we're not quite that timely. But the issue of tough interrogation of terror suspects is also very much in the news. President Bush has just vetoed an act of Congress which would have limited the CIA to the same interrogation techniques as those approved in the Army Field Manual. Well, what do these limits amount to? What effect might they have on the information that we can glean about terrorist activity? Tough interrogation is not our euphemism for torture, but it does invite discussion about where to draw the line. And terror suspects are not routine criminals. The threats they pose are of a different nature entirely. The discourse on this subject has tended to conflate Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo and waterboarding and the infamous Justice Department torture memo. We picture an administration running roughshod over Geneva Conventions and our own historic traditions of civil liberties and human rights. More pragmatically, how much useful intelligence has actually been gained, and have the costs in terms of public support for our policies at home and our image as a nation abroad been worth it? On the other hand, it's easy to forget that the Geneva Conventions are reciprocal agreements, giving rights to warring soldiers on both sides of a conflict. These rights are conditioned on soldiers wearing uniforms in order to protect civilian populations from collateral damage as much as possible. Well, how is this relevant to terror groups who don't abide by Geneva principles, who don't wear uniforms, and whose very purpose is to kill and maim civilians? CIA terror interrogation practices are hardly transparent, but military interrogations are governed by very elaborate legal and procedural safeguards. For the military, it's highly problematic to impose on terror suspects the same physical hardships we use in training our own troops, or the same psychological stress involved in civilian police interrogations, or even the same degree of sleep deprivation experienced by young investment bankers at Goldman Sachs. Well, we have a superb panel to help us sort out these issues. It's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Brooke Gladstone. Brooke is the award-winning host and managing editor of WNYC's On the Media. Brooke, the evening is yours, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bob. So I'd like to welcome you all to the 8th debate of the second Intelligence Squared series, the resolution being debated tonight, Tough Interrogation of Terror Suspects is Necessary. And now I'll introduce the panel. Please hold your applause until all 6 are introduced. For the motion, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and military analyst for NBC News, Rick Francona. The John M. Olin Fellow at the Manhattan Institute and a contributing editor to City Journal, Heather McDonald. And a partner at Baker and Hostetler LLP and visiting fellow at the Nixon Center, who served in the Reagan and George H.W. Bush administrations, David Rivkin. Against the motion, 25-year veteran of the FBI and president of the global risk and crisis management firm Clayton Consultants, Jack Cloonan. Former Judge Advocate General of the Navy, President and Dean of the Franklin Pierce Law Center, retired Rear Admiral John Huston, and Professor of Political Science and Chair of the Political Science Department at Reed College, Darius Rejali. Okay.